Hey, welcome to my channel. Let's have a conversation. The reason I started this channel because I be seeing a lot of stuff online and I be wanting to comment on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just start my own page. Let me introduce myself. My name is Corey Eric. I am 53 years old. Uh, I'm in the process of moving, so if you see stuff is gonna be all over the place. I'll be moving shortly. But I just want to talk about, as the title say, how one secret caused me into a 20 years of trouble and courts and drugs and all because of one secret. Let me take it back. When I didn't have a troubled childhood. Actually, I had a good childhood. I was a spoiled child, actually. Um, I can't say I grew up in the rough part of town. I didn't. I had my mom and my dad up until I was 15, and then it's when they got divorced that I think my freedom, because my mom told me months before she was going to leave my dad, and she said, she asked me, did I want to move with her or did I want to stay with my dad? And at the time, I didn't want to leave school, so I said, let's stay with my dad. So once I stayed with my dad, I started acting out because my mom was a disciplinary, I didn't have that no more. So my dad would let me do whatever he wanted because in his mind, boys can do what they want. He ain't got to worry about me getting in trouble. So that's where my journey begins. So when I was 14, I started drinking. I was hanging out and I was drinking, hanging out with older kids. I've always hung out with older people. Uh, Even to this day, the people I talk to are older than me, like 7 years, 8 years older than me. And I always hung around with them because I've always been mature because I was pretty much around my grandmother all the time. Anyways, so I started drinking at the age of 14 and I started smoking cigarettes at the age of 14. Now, I grew up a very overweight child, so my nickname as a child was Chubbs. They were like, Chubbs this, Chubbs that, short for chubby. So when I was younger, it was cute, but then as I started getting older and my weight started to get even bigger, I started feeling self conscious. And also, I was dealing with not knowing who I was at that time. I really struggled with who I was at that time, but I'll get to that later. So, at the age of 17, I'm really big. And I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, or whatever. And at the time, people were losing weight like crazy. You would see them big, and all of a sudden they were losing weight. Me and my young mind thought, well, I want what they're having because they're losing weight. So I remember asking one of my friends, I was like, wonder how they lose weight like that? Because whatever it is, I want it because I want to lose weight. And they were like, well, I heard it was cocaine or crack or something. And I was like, where can I get it from? This is the immaturity of me. I was like, where can I get it? They was like, I don't know, but I'm gonna find out, and once I do, I'll let you know. Now, mind you, at the time, I started working at a rest. It was like a fast food place called Hardee's in my area at the age of 14. So I was always at 14, and by this time I'm 17. So I was still at Hardee's, so I was still making money, and also I was working at Hardee's, and I was working at a nursing center as a dietary aide. This is all while in high school. So I go to work one day at not at Hardee's but at the dietary aid, and they were like, "I found some. I got it." I was like, "Got what?" And it was like, "I got the crack." I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "How am I gonna do it?" Neither one of us knew how to do it, but we both were overweight. We wanted to lose weight. This is weird. It's a weird story, but that's the way I was thinking in my mind. I wasn't looking at the devastation of it. I was looking at how can I lose weight. So I remember we went in the kitchen. She was like, "Let's go down the storage room," which was downstairs, right? So we go in the storage room, and neither one. Well, how do we do it? How do we do it? I was like, "Well, how do you?" I mean, and she was like, "Well." At the time, I was smoking cigarettes. She was smoking. I said, "Let's just put it." She said, "Let's put it in a cigarette." So we put it in a cigarette and smoked, and we tried. I was like, "I don't feel nothing." And they were like, "I don't feel nothing." And so we tried it. We did whatever, and we went back upstairs, started work, and then I remember sitting in the break room after a while. We was like, "Did you ever feel something?" I was like, "No, I never felt it." So that was at one time. This is at 17, and I said, "Well," because in my mind I thought you were supposed to feel something. Anyway, so time goes on. I'm still drinking, and it's the year of my graduation. Actually, the graduation, I graduated. Let's just get to graduation. I graduated. And that summer, a relative of mine asked me to ride with them to the city. I'm from Maryland, so to ride with them to D.C. So we ride to D.C. and when we go up to we went to this apartment, and mind you, I'm like new. I'm out of school. I'm drinking. The, the biggest thing I did was just drink and party or whatever. But this was different. We go there. There's people sitting around the table, and they got this thing. They draw it in. They smoke it out. And for the longest, I watched them because I was like, oh, I don't want to do that because the way they were acting. So then the person I rode up there with was like, come back in the room with us where they were sitting around the table because I was out in the living room. So I went back there and they was like, you want to try it? I was like, I'll try it. When I tell you, when I tried it, it was a feeling that I had never felt before. It was almost like I was instantaneously hooked. It was like a feeling like I was hooked, like really quick. So I sitting there for a while, but when I was doing it, I'm getting my stories all twisted. But as I was doing it, I could notice my heart rate was really fast, and I was getting nervous. So I said I ain't doing no more because my heart was beating so fast. So I left them in there and went back in the living room. Mind you, this was like 1 o'clock. Do you know? I wanted to go home. I was paranoid. I mean, all these thoughts was going through my head. They sit in there and they smoked till that next morning. I'm telling you, it was an all night thing. And that was the beginning of my addiction to crack cocaine. And I have so many stories I could tell you. Um, the stuff that happens when you're on drugs, the stuff that happens. It's just so much I could tell y'all. One thing I want women to know, never say never with your men. Women has a thing with seeing somebody's gay, doing somebody's gay, and they don't realize by doing so, they're making men hide what they do. What I'm saying is, in my addiction, throughout my addiction, I don't know if I mentioned that, but I am a gay man. In my addiction, I witnessed so many men that I thought were straight do gay stuff and then go home to their wives as if they never did anything. And I see it over and over and over again. I've even had straight men that I grew up with that when they got me by myself would whisper in my ear. And the one thing about me, I will never expose anybody, but I want to let women know that they are out there, that you can't trust every man. Every man that you, and especially the ones that's so focused on what a gay person is doing, and it shouldn't. And if a person that's so enraged about what they're doing, they're enraged. You gotta question, why are they enraged? Are they enraged because they're mad because they can't live their life freely, or are they enraged because they're living their life freely and they don't have the courage to do so? But I have a lot of stories I'm going to be sharing. I just started you off with that just to get you drawn in. But trust me, the stories are going to keep coming. Um, I titled this Why One Secret Got Me 6 DUIs and a 21-year drug habit, because all of that drugs and alcohol stem from me hiding the fact that I was gay. And so I did anything that I could to um, just get away from it. So when I was going through depression as a child, going through, I would just be so conflicted because I was always told it was wrong, it's wrong, and I would pray to God. I would say, God, please take this away from me, take it away from me. I don't want it, I don't want it. And it was, the urge was so strong and so strong until I just had conflict. And I want to tell this to pastors, if there's a pastor who's listening to this, you don't realize the damage that you do to young boys who are struggling with their sexuality. You think that you're helping them, but you're not. You're driving them to do drugs. You're driving them to go out and fulfill their needs, but then feel guilty and then hate themselves, go into a depressed state. Or some who don't know how to handle their anger will go out and kill the person because they're afraid they're going to be exposed. Just by you saying you're going to go to hell and go all this, to put that shame in a person, I think it's wrong. It's other ways of saying things to people without forcing them to go through a lifetime of drugs, a lifetime of alcoholism, a lifetime of hating themselves, all because you deemed it as being wrong. And it's almost like pastors act like they don't have something that they're dealing with. And I never understood that. They never preach on adultery. They never preach on all these other things. But the gay thing, they're going to preach on. And they don't realize the damage that they do to gay men. So, anyways, I dealt with that. And so I was partying and drinking. And then I get my first DUI. So I got my first DUI. I didn't really think nothing of it because I knew everybody said, "Oh, your first one, you're gonna get a slap on the wrist," in which I did. So I got off with that one, and then I go and I did 2 years, and then I got another DUI. This time I got this DUI because I was helping a family member whose car had broken down. And so we drove up to get them. And when I had already been drinking, I was like, well, I'll go up there and get them. And so coming back home, I got stopped and ended up going to the police thing. And I got a second DUI. Now with the second DUI I got, the second DUI, the second one I got, I think a week in jail. Yeah, I think it was a week in jail. So then I go 2 more years and I get another DUI. Now I'm on my third. Now, mind you, all these DUIs are because I'm hiding who I am, and by this time I'm on crack and cocaine. I'm just partying. I'm doing whatever, right? But I wasn't living. I was dealing with my demons, but I wasn't doing. Oh yes, I was. I'll tell that story another time. I forgot. I was dealing with a married guy for 6 years, and no one knew it. We were doing it in plain sight because I don't come off as being gay to people. Like, people hate that I can walk in the world and nobody be like, oh, he's gay. Because I just don't feel like you had to be feminine to be gay, but that would be another part. I'm all over the place on my first video because I don't know how to structure it. But that's why it's called Let's Have a Conversation, because I just have so many thoughts that I would need to get out. Um, what was that? So I was on my third DUI, and I think my third DUI, I had to do, well, by the third one, they were getting a little lean, tougher. I had to do 30 days in a in program. What do you call it? Drug treatment program, and 6 months on the outpatient program. That was on my third one. So I was doing good for a while. Yeah, my third one, I had to do I had to do in treatment and then outpatient treatment. My fourth one, I got less than a year from my third one. And on my fourth one is all because we were all drinking, and me and my cousin said, well, we wanted to get something to eat. And here is me. I already had 3W. I'll drive. Now we were both drinking. I'm driving, right? So we go down to Burger King, man. I never forget. We go to Burger King, and as soon as I pull out the parking lot, the lights come on. I was like, oh shit. And I hadn't got my license back from the third one, right? So when the police stopped us, he asked for license registration. Well, it was me and the person I was with on the other side. I gave them their name. So he went to the car. I gave them um, their name. He came into the car and came back and told me to step out of the car and told me that I was in person, pretending like he knew I wasn't the person I said I was. And he threw me all up on the hood or whatever. It was a whole ordeal, and I was drunk as I don't know what. I just can remember waking up in jail the next morning. My eyes would look like fireballs because that's how hungover I was, and I had the worst headache. Nothing is worse than going to jail drunk and waking up sober. That's my third DUI. I'll tell you about the rest, 4, 5, and 6, on the later video because I see that people are coming and I don't want them to disrupt me. Stay tuned. But, anyways, like, share, and subscribe. This channel is going to be about a lot of stuff. I have a lot of experience. I've seen, witnessed, and seen a lot of things. And just if you want to follow along with me, please do like, share, and subscribe. And once again, my name is Corey Eric, and I go by Scared Straight. And this channel is called Let's Have a Conversation. I'll see you next time. And remind me, and please comment at the bottom because I will be looking at comments and I'm replying because I feel like a lot of people may have went through things in their lives. Like I went through a lot. 6 DUIs, cocaine and crack habit, dealing with homosexuality, and I'm gonna tell you how I handled that. I'll tell you how the dynamics with my mother and father, how close we were, how my father loved me, even though he knew I was gay, how close my mom was. I mean, I have a lot to share, and I think sometimes if you share your story, somebody can resonate with you. So please like, subscribe, and share. And tell everybody about Let's Have a Conversation. Once again, my name is Corey Eric. And don't let me forget when I come back, I'm going to tell you about 4, 5, and 6 DUIs. And then I'll go into the rest of the. Then I'll talk about the drug habit. I'll see you next time, guys.